Hello, hello. Welcome to the Monster Mash 2-day Halloween jewelry making party with Jesse James Beads and Softlex Company. We are having an issue streaming to Facebook. It appears it might be a Facebook issue, and it's not streaming to our Softlex Company Facebook or our Jesse James Beads Facebook. So Kristen is going to take a look just as soon as she can, and we'll see if we're able to figure it out. Otherwise, I would probably go to those two spaces, Thomas and Kristen, and just leave a note for everyone where to find us on YouTube. That might be the best quick fix to get everybody together. Here we go. And we've got our very first guest here. It is the lovely and talented Rachel Mallis. Hello, Rachel.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm ready for a spooky time.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to spend some time with you again. We had so much fun last time you came on for a live beading party. I was really excited when you said that you would do a jewelry making party with us and Jesse James Beads. These are really special events that we do usually about 3 or 4 times a year, and we invite our very favorite people to come do them. So consider yourself on that list, Rachel.
Thank you. I'm so honored. It was so exciting. It was a great kits. There's so much you can do with them. We're not even going to use everything in all these classes.
It takes up the whole screen. Yeah, we had a lot. So for these jewelry making parties, we ask those who want to attend to buy 2 kits, one from Softlex Company. We bring all the supplies, and then one from Jesse James Beads, and they bring all the beautiful beads and components and charms and all the fun stuff. Jesse James Beads is out of their full-sized kit. However, they have lots of Halloween bead mixes and bead strands and charms and things that you can still get on their website. We do have some of the supply kits left. There was a miscommunication when we were making kits, and we ended up making roughly 30 more than the bead kit. So if you want one of the supply kits, you can still do that, and then you can cherry pick your own Halloween items from jessejamesbeads.com. I will be giving away one of our supply kits today to someone who is commenting with hashtag Frankenstein in our comment section in the next hour. We will pick someone at the end with Rachel, and then we will move on in the same video to add in Jenifer Miller. It looks like we might be streaming to Facebook now.
Yay!
Kristen, magic. I saw it wasn't streaming. I was like, please get Kristen. She can do it.
This is not the first time I've heard this week about streaming to Facebook. I think Facebook must be updating things because there were quite a few issues this week.
Well, I'm in one of those headspaces where things just never seem to
stop
as they're supposed to. So thankfully there are people like Kristen around to come in and fix it up for me. So I'm going to turn over to you, Rachel. Actually, you're going to turn your camera. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go here. You turn your camera. I don't know if you guys saw, but we added a bunch of those boho check glass beads in, I think, 18 different colors. I've got like a whole tray of them here in front of me. They are gorgeous. And they would look so pretty in that owl design that I did on Tuesday as a replacement if you wanted to do something that's a little more flowery. There's lots of fall colors, so lots of oranges and yellows. I loved, this was one of my favorites. Look at this dusty pink. It's so pretty. It's dusty pink and it has like a copper etching. It's so, so pretty. So you can find all of those at softluxcompany.com. as well as this. And then you can pick up more charms and beads and Halloween supplies from our good friends over at Jesse James Beads as well. We're streaming 4 places today, so you may see comments pop up that you're not seeing in your own screen, and that's because we're streaming to Jesse James Beads Facebook and YouTube channel, as well as the Softflix Company Facebook and YouTube channel. So just be prepared for that. Rachel, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to mute myself, but I will pop comments up at the bottom of the screen for you as they roll in if there's a question or a comment that I think everyone needs to see. Does that sound good?
Okay, sounds great.
Here you come.
All right. So there were so many gorgeous things to pick from with these kits. I couldn't even decide, but I decided to go back to kind of my roots and wire working. And it was really nice because there's 2 different gauges that I actually use a lot of. We have 18 gauge and 26 gauge. So for this project, we're actually going to use both of them. And we're going to do 3 different wire work techniques. And I don't think any of them are like super hard either. So I think this could be pretty beginner friendly. The hardest part is the simple loops. I hear all the time they are not simple. And I can't say I disagree, but I've been doing them for a while. So I picked this gorgeous strand, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And we're not going to use the bead caps for this project, though. I wanted to stick with just the copper. We're kind of going to do our own embellishing. There we go. Now I'm going to pre-warn you, I have a tendency to drop things every 5 minutes, so we might have to make do if I drop anything. I have cats, and I can always find what's fallen because they will find it first.
Welcome to the club, Rachel. Welcome to the club.
I was thinking, I think maybe I need to design like a beater's apron where you like Velcro it to your desk and then it just traps everything.
I might buy one of those. That sounds like a fantastic invention.
I had 4. I was working on something the other day and I had only 4 of this one bead and I planned to use all of them. And then I dropped one and it was a clear 3mm Swarovski crystal. And I was like, I'm never going to find that again. We need to change the project. Okay. So I think actually where I started with this project was these adorable pumpkins. I so love them. So we're going to start with our 18 gauge wire. And this is bare copper wire. You can do this with any wire that Softflix sells. The craft wires. These are also from Softflix. Little shout out. I love these. I did not think they were going to be able to get as close as they do because they look so much bigger than regular flush cutters, but they're amazing.
They're surprisingly like able to get in there. I also feel that way too because my old cutters had a tiny tip and I was like, these seem so gargantuan, but they do work.
Yeah, they fit into the tiniest areas and it's incredible. So we're going to start off and we're going to make a simple loop. You can make it whatever size you want. I like with larger wire to make it a little bit larger so that these have a little bit more room to shift around. And then I'm going to put a pumpkin on here. These are so cute. I want just like 20 of these. And then we're going to go further down on our pliers. Just like if you were going to make a wrap loop, you want some space because we're going to do some wrapping on here. And I did not cut like a specific length of wire. Just cut what you're comfortable working with. All right. There we go. We've got like little gap on each side. Then for the fun part, we're going to come in with the 26 gauge wire. I would give yourself a long piece. This piece is probably about 16 inches. I don't like to run out. All right. And then you can either wrap the end or you can wrap the middle. It's totally up to you. So we're going to wrap around here. a couple times. And then we're just going to go in the grooves. The pumpkin's going to be the easiest one because it's already got the lines for you. So we'll go in the grooves and just keep wrapping around either end. This is always so fun to me. The fun thing with wire for me is it's always so fun. I keep saying fun, but it's really fun for me to try to kind of troubleshoot things. This is going to be, I'm going to have a good amount of leftover wire, which is awesome. We can use it for something else. It's always fun getting new bead shapes and whatnot. The different, especially like they've been doing a lot of different brio cuts lately, some like boxier ones. So it's fun to come up with new ways to wrap them. Actually, I have lots of extra wire, so we're going to use this for the next one too. Let me just cut off right here. And what I love about the quote unquote simple loops is that they open and close. I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I'm not a very good pre-planner. If I pre-plan something, the chances of it changing are astronomical. There's more chances of it changing than there are it staying the same. I'm just going to kind of tuck my wire underneath some of these. Probably looks a little crazy right now. All right. And then I'm going to cut it. And you probably don't have to, but I'm going to tuck it a little bit. So there's our first one. Look how cute he is. I don't know if you've ever been to like one of the pumpkin farms where they have all the crazy pumpkins. I didn't know pumpkins came in other colors until I was probably much older than I should have been to find that out. Okay, and then I also used for this project some of these beads that were also in the Jesse James kit, and then also these adorable birds that were with the Softlex kit. We're even going to use the little green pearls that were in the that were along the strand. Sorry. All right. So should we do another one? We'll do the pumpkins first, and then we'll move on to other things. All right. I've gotten into the habit of saying all right, and then I say it like that because I grew up in the South. And then when I say it like that, and in my head, Matthew McConaughey finishes it, and he's like, all right, all right, all right.
Who doesn't need Matthew McConaughey in their head?
Right.
Most of the beads you're using are from the bead strand that came in the Jesse James beads mix. And then
these you could definitely these came in one of the mixes too, but you could definitely substitute in if you had other beads that you wanted to use from your stash or other beads that you got from Jesse James. These are just like little additional beads. But all of the main things are from the strand.
Those look like they came in the bead mix that has the mummy in it, if anyone's trying to locate them.
Thank you. Yes, my bead mix got, they all got mixed together. And I could no longer tell you which mix they came from.
Mine actually aren't labeled, which is unusual. The Tokyo one is labeled, but that one doesn't have a name on it. But it has a beautiful little mummy in it if you're looking for it, and some spider web beads.
Those are so cute.
To find the same one, or like Rachel said, you can always mix and match other materials in. All of these things go together in the kit, but some of them might get used later in another project. So if you're trying to make the same thing, that's where you'll find them.
Right. These, the strand of beads, the coloring on them is so beautiful, and there's so many colors in this bead in particular that it would be really easy to find complementing beads.
What gauge wire are you using?
So this is the 18, and then we're going to wrap it with the 26.
Okay, so 2 different gauges of the soft flex craft wire.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to wrap the 26 around here again. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shorter tail this time just because I am using my leftover piece of wire. And we're going to anchor it to both ends. You don't want to completely cover up the loops you made because it will make it harder to open them and attach things later. I love to do, you'll see that I've used on this project wrap loops and the simple loops. And that's one of my favorite ways to like make sure a project is really secure, but also give me the freedom to move things around. Just gonna tuck that. So we're just gonna move around the bead. I kind of let the wire tell me where it wants to go. Wherever it's gonna lay nicest in the grooves. And just wrap it around and then see where it lays. All right, let's go underneath this one. Have your kids decided what they want to be for Halloween yet, Sarah?
Yes, they on their own picked a Wizard of Oz theme. And
I love that.
So Evelyn is going to be the Wicked Witch. Hazel wants to be Glinda, the Good Witch. Jack is going to be the Scarecrow.
Aw.
They tried to talk me into being Dorothy, but I feel a little too old to play Dorothy. So I got our dog a Dorothy costume.
Oh, that's adorable.
And
okay.
I'm going to be Toto.
That's so funny. Sorry, was I off screen? So we've got this.
They didn't think it was as funny as I did, of course, but I was like, no, you guys will get it when you see it.
I think that's so cute. Toto, or the dog's gonna be Dorothy and you're gonna be Toto.
Right.
So
and then
adorable.
I just put on like some dog ears and a nose, and it's like simple and it won't be difficult. Because I don't need difficult this year, but they're pretty excited, to say the least.
I was Glinda one year for Halloween, but my siblings and I never coordinated.
Oh,
It was not in the cards.
Yes, they like to work together for sure. Are the strands with the pumpkin from Jesse James Beads? They are. They were in the kit for the Monster Mash jewelry making party that is sold out. I do not know if they have these strands available individually, but you can look through their website and see what they have going for Halloween, because I know they have a lot of Halloween items still available.
Okay, we're gonna do this last pumpkin. The pumpkins are so cute though, so if they still have them.
Jess is asking, could you show a basic wire wrap loop for beginners, please?
Yes. Let me do this pumpkin, and then we're going to be doing a little bit of a more complicated wire wrap loop for the small. It's not really that complicated. I'll show you. And we're just going to double strand it, but I will show a regular one, and then I will show how we're going to do the little spin on it.
My kids are 9. This is a trick. 7 and 4. My name is Sarah, though, not Meredith. But I know what you mean.
Okay, then we're going to get some more of the 26. I'm going to cut probably closer to 10 inches this time. I did this really fun thing where I don't ever write anything down. I'm like, I will remember. But my memory is not what it used to be.
I don't really like ever writing things down, so I like to make in the moment. So these are always challenging when I'm one of the designers, because I'm like, to make it ahead, what?
And then I have to remember it. Sometimes I'll record myself while I'm making things, and that way, if I don't remember, I can remind myself. I've done a lot of classes with Sam from Sam's Beach Shop, and sometimes I go back and watch them because I'm like, how did I make that? I have no idea what I did. One of my friends was like, you did this in this class, and I was like, why did I do that? I don't know.
Some folks are really excited about your simple loops because you're making them look way too easy.
I'm sorry. I know I look very, very young, but I've actually been doing this for about 20 years. So please don't feel like you're not getting it. They're not the simple is deceptive. It's like when you're learning about machines and they're called simple machines.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not simple in their execution. They're simple in their design, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I have a piano performance going on behind me, so I'm going to mute myself so everyone can hear you.
Is anything good?
I don't know. To be determined.
Okay, so we got this. And then I'd say the hardest thing with simple loops is you really just gotta get to know your pliers and the way your what was I gonna say? Your pliers and how much wire to cut. Um, I will show like one like simple loop troubleshooting because I think that could be useful. And this is something I do also do sometimes because I don't do the same size loop every time. Sometimes I might need a really big loop to connect a pendant or whatever that has a hole really far down. So let's say I wanted to make a big loop. I'm going to try to do this incorrectly. So if I do it correctly, I'm sorry, and we'll try again. So I think I probably have way too much wire here. So we're going to go. Yes, I definitely have way too much wire here. See, I have so much. So you see that like little bit extra I have is probably 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna undo this. And you just want to have like a pretty gentle grip when you do this. What's nice about the copper wire is it's not too stiff. It's very easy to undo. And a bigger wire size, like 20 or 18 gauge, is a lot easier to learn how to correct yourself because you're not putting dents in the wire that can compromise the structural integrity of it. Like if you try to do something a bunch of times over and over with the 26 gauge, you'd probably have a piece break off. So I've cut that little piece, so now I'm gonna make my big loop and we'll see. We'll see if it's, there we go. See, it still looks okay. So if you're not sure and you're still getting used to whatever size your pliers are, you can always do a little bit extra wire and then cut it off if you need to. Some people also mark their pliers with Sharpie, but I've been using them for so long, I just kind of know. So now we are going to do a wrapped loop. And I'm going to cut a little extra because I'm going to use this piece of wire for what I'm going to show you after. But this is a wrapped loop for beginners. And quite honestly, if you are a beginner with wrapped loops, this is probably not the gauge you want to start with. You probably want to start with more like 24. We're actually going to be doubling this to make these so that they look a little bit more substantial next to 18 gauge wire. But if you're wanting to practice wrap loops, I practice probably with 24 gauge. Just to get the hang of it. It's got a little bit less give to it. So for a wrap loop though, we're going to start at the same, do a 90-degree bend, and then you're going to bring your shorter tail over. And then there's a couple different ways you can do this, but what I like to do is just shift my pliers. So it was like this, and then I'm just going to shift my wrist a little bit. You've got your loop, and then you'll come in with your chain nose or your flat nose, and you're just going to wrap your wire around. If you're having trouble getting the tension, you can use another pair of pliers to do it. Sometimes I have a little bit of carpal tunnel going on, so definitely using the pliers is helpful for that. And you just do it as many times as you want. And you have your little wrap loop. These are definitely easier than the simple loops, though, if you're just starting out. All right. So from there, I'm going to cut that off. And we are going to fold our wire in half. And we're going to make one of our connectors. Another thing I like about using the simple loops and the wrap loops is you can make everything individually and you don't have to worry about connecting things right when you make it. That's one of the hardest things about wrapped loops, I find, is I forget to connect it and then I have to redo it. So we've got it folded and we're going to start on the folded end and we're going to do exactly what I just showed you. I'm going to bend. We're going to come over and we've got our loop. And I wanted this to be more of like a messy wrap to give it some more body in comparison to the bigger beads I have on the other sides of it. You can leave the loop there if you want, or you can cut it. I think I'm going to leave it on this one. Then what's wonderful about 26 gauge wire is that sometimes you can fit it through beads twice, and then you have so many options for how you want to embellish things. For this one, we're just going to do the wraps, but you could always come back around afterwards and like put some extra wraps around the outside of this. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to come in here. Now there are beads on here. And we're going to give it a little space so you have room to have your wrapping. 90-degree angle. Doesn't really matter how much space you give. I would just try to be somewhat consistent in the project. All right, so we brought our loops around, tilted the pliers, and I'm gonna grab them again, grab the loop again, and twist. I know some people don't like messy things. I always say, like, if you want to make a messy wrap and it's going to bother you watching yourself make it messy, just close your eyes. Which also seems to stress some people out. All right, perfect. So we've got this. I guess let's wrap another small one, and then we got to do some more larger ones again. So it's probably about 10 inches. I find that with wire, especially 26 gauge, you can never go wrong with having extra bits, because even I work a lot in sterling. So when I have extra, I like to have at least enough to make one. I could make one looped link out of this if I wanted to. I have enough space to do the wrap loops on both ends. So having a little extra is easier to work with, and it's also not the end of the world. You'll be able to use it. I do the same thing with the Softflex beading wire. It's kind of like a holy grail. I don't want to waste any, so I will cut absolutely way too much for a project, and then I have enough extra to do something else with it. Okay.
Always save those extras.
I have them separated by what is it called with is it a gauge still? The thickness. I have them separated by thickness on my little scraps.
Yeah, it is by gauge. We have our own Softflex craft wire and beading wire, and that is what was available in this kit. It's the Softflex craft wire.
Right. I just meant the beading wire. What do you call the different sizes? Do you call it gauges?
Gauges,
still?
Yes. I was answering someone else's question as well as yours.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there it is. It's a Softflex company craft wire, and
yes,
but yes,
I have it right here.
Gauge is for the different sizes or thicknesses of the wire, and it comes all the way from 18 gauge up to 28 gauge. In fact, we may even have some 16 gauge on the website right now.
I find for me, just where I'm at in the work I've been doing. I've been using, probably these are my 2 most used gauges actually. I would also probably get 24.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
And
we picked, these are Jem's favorite gauges. She does a lot of craft wire projects. So we specifically put them in for her. But then, you know, others can obviously use them too when they're designing their projects, which is fun to see what everybody makes.
it's they're 2 different gauges that are great. The 18 is great for making like frames of things, like if you want to make hoops or whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
wrapping onto it is perfect with the 26 gauge.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
So we still got our doubled wire. It's okay when you crush it down if the loops kind of like get offset a little bit. You just want to have, as long as you have enough space to put your simple loop through, don't worry about it because they'll be fine. All right. Wrapping. Okay. I'm gonna just tuck the wires a little bit. Nothing too crazy. All right, so let's do a little bit of a different shaped larger bead where the grooves aren't set for you. That was a fun thing for me to kind of figure out how I wanted to do it. I'm gonna move all of my little wires though. Goodbye. All right. So we're going to come back in with our 18 gauge. I'm going to cut off this loop because it was a little bit larger than I have been making. So I'm going to bend. I think this is probably about 3/8 of an inch. That's like generally what I do for larger loops. If you go slow when you're making those simple loops too, it also makes it a lot easier to adjust if you need to. So let's do the bird. Again, the bird is from the Softflex kit. I just thought they were so cute. They went perfectly with the wire.
Yeah, and we got them from one of the other designers who will be up tomorrow. Abbi Berta at the Bead Place has lots of great Halloween items too. We put a couple of them in our supply kit, including these fantastic blackbirds.
Like little Halloween ravens.
I know. When she sent that picture to me, I was like, oh, they're so cool because they're like, again, I really love Halloween stuff that can kind of like be worn anytime, you know?
Right.
Like
This
I
is
like
a great fall necklace.
the sugar skull bracelet I made. I was like, I could wear this all year long. It's just nice that way. Or at least all fall, you know?
Right.
So those, I think those are like that too. And even the pumpkins in this case, like they're very fall and you could wear them the whole fall season. They don't feel specifically just Halloween, you know?
Right. They're not like jack-o'-lanterns. They're like pumpkins.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So
Halloween's a short time.
right. It's funny because by the time you're already thinking about Halloween, it's like almost Halloween, and you're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be making Halloween stuff. I don't know what I'm supposed.
Unless you
I don't know
have
if I'm supposed to skip it.
children, Rachel, because then they start talking about Halloween after 4th of July. I have been talking about Halloween for months now. So
That's funny.
like, oh good, it's finally here.
We can be done with it. That's true. They've had Halloween costumes at Costco for months now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's
what I
where
did
the
was
witch costumes came from, was from Costco.
yeah, we have a Costco right by our apartment. It was a major selling point.
It's handy, especially you're in New York, aren't you?
Right. The grocery store that we have near us is Definitely on the higher end of New York prices. So we tend to go to
Mm,
Costco for a lot of things.
yeah, I mean it's hard. I have a big family, so we go to Costco quite a bit because it helps save that little bit.
Right. I'm the oldest of four, so I definitely, my mom used to take us there on Saturdays and we would just eat lunch off all the samples.
Lucinette was saying that my kids love the samples. They have plenty of food here, but they love going to Costco
I
for the
know, it's so nice. Well, I grew up Jewish, so I
mm,
when we went to Costco, my mom didn't like ask what was in things. She just kind of set us loose. Um,
mm.
so I got to eat all this stuff I didn't get to eat at home.
Oh, that's nice. Nancy, I see you're saying you should have ordered this kit. She ordered the TGB Fall Fest Harvest Moon kit.
Mm.
It's a good kit too. So I'm glad that you ended up with that one. We do have the supply kit for this still available, and you can intermix in lots of things from Jesse James Beads still as well.
Yeah, you could totally use these techniques on other larger beads or whatever beads fit that you already have. But they're
Mm,
very cute with the Halloween kit for sure. So for the
yeah.
bird, I decided that I didn't want as many wraps as the pumpkin. And so I just did two on one side, and I'm going to do two on the other. And you can play around with if you want to like try to cross them. You can do it like this. You could add more if you want. Now I kind of want to go a little crazy. I have all this wire.
I'm totally with you, Kim. This is usually my kids too, but they have stuck with this Wizard of Oz thing. And they usually end up going to so many different Halloween things before Halloween, like trunk or treat. We have trick or treating downtown in my little downtown area. Just multiple things. So sometimes they'll wear different costumes to different events too, which is kind of fun. But we have a whole costume trunk that they can
Aw.
choose from. They usually get one new one every year, and then they can decide as we're going to all the different things what to do.
So we're going to connect two of these. Okay. And then I'll show some more of some more of how I've wrapped some more of the larger ones. I just want to make sure I get to show you that, just in case anybody has a tricky time with it. The double wrapped loops that we were doing on these are going to be the same for all of the beads. All right, but we are going to, I don't know why I'm like so focused on this pattern. Like I can't do a different pattern for the second necklace. I'm like, we must make it exact.
It's okay.
Okay, so we're gonna bend. We've got our wire folded over my loop right here, and you could cut it if you want, but I find that it's a lot easier to work with when it's all still connected, and you can cut it at the end. But that definitely is what makes this a little bit less tricky, is because they're connected. So I've got my loop. Just really, however it feels best for you, however much wire you want to put on here. You could put tons of wire. And I think actually I'll show you a slight variation for the other side just in case. So I'm just going to tuck that a little bit. And then we are going to put our bead on the wire through both holes. Or get both wires through the same hole. All right, and then I'm actually going to push down a little bit just to compact my wire on the other side. It's looking a little large. And give it some space, bend, wrap, and come in here, do my chaos wrapping. Then at this point, when you have these different ends, you could separate them if you wanted to. and do little wraps around the bead. So you could do it like that. And then you've got a little wire accent on the bead too. And why not tighten it just a little? Okay, so cute. Okay, so we're gonna connect some of these and then we'll do the big ones. So with simple loops, you are going to open them just like jump rings. So you gotta know which side is the open side. And just twist it open. Then we're gonna put our loop on here, our wrapped loop. I'm gonna close it. And then we're going to connect our pumpkin. Just do that again. This is why the space that we put when we're doing the simple loops on the larger beads is why the space is important, so you're still able to open the loops once you've done all your wrapping. Otherwise, it will be a little difficult to connect things. And just push that in a little bit. Now that I say that, my wires are like, we're going to jump in front of you just so that what you were just saying no longer applies. All right, now we're going to wrap the skulls, which I definitely debated if I wanted to wrap the front of the skulls, but I think it ended up looking pretty cool just wrapping the back. What's nice about wrapping the wire around the top of the 18 gauge, when you wrap it, it anchors it. So it pretty much stays wherever you put it. Like you could shift it a little bit, but it's not really going anywhere.
So the base wire is 18 gauge and the wraparound wire is 26 gauge, right?
Yes.
We have a couple people just joining us, so just to
welcome.
Keep speed.
All right. So I'm gonna just cut this. I always think about how amazing it is, all of the information available on beading now. It's so much more accessible, I feel like, than when I started. Because I started as a kid, so I also like didn't know about the different classes and bead stores. I really kind of mostly taught myself. So like when I first started, mostly I used wire because I didn't understand that beading wire was something else, and I was trying to use like 30 gauge wire as beading wire and it kept breaking, and I was like, clearly I'm not meant to string things.
I feel like YouTube was really a game changer,
right?
In being able to learn how to do everything, whether it's like plumbing, electrical, car repairs, all the way to like knitting and jewelry making. Like you can search just about anything on there and find out how to do it.
Right. Definitely these classes have been a big game changer, and I think it's also made a more accessible community.
Definitely. This project is so cute, Rachel. I'm really loving it. And it's just coming together beautifully.
I really enjoy. Oh, I didn't show you we'll show you the other loops too. Beads are going everywhere. Okay. I might have to get to work on that apron. It's gonna be a game changer.
And don't forget, we'll have the lovely and talented Jenifer Miller joining us in just about 15 minutes for a second project from these two kits. This is a 2-day party. So we're part 1, and then Kristen will be back with part 2 tomorrow. Same time, same place, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And another two designers will show us projects tomorrow.
There's so many projects, and we all used different beads that that you'll have in both the kits. So you'll be able to do all the projects and you'll still have beads left over for whatever you want to make.
Yeah,
In addition.
you can do all of the exact same projects from the 2 kits, and none of the beads are supposed to overlap. So that's kind of nice, because sometimes, I know for me, I don't always want to come up with my own project, especially like a time like this where my brain is just tired from life. It's nice when someone else can show me what to do. I can be creative, but not have to recreate, something on my own.
Right. There's a lot of room to make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've done is I've just done the wrapping, and I've just focused all the wraps on the back side of the skull. And there we go.
And one more time, if you want to enter to win a free Softflux Company supply kit from this party, the Monster Mash supply kit, hit that comment area with #Frankenstein. We'll be doing this giveaway at the end of Rachel's project, right before we have Jenifer Miller join us.
This is a great kit. It has a lot of my favorites in it. I don't know if anybody watched, if you didn't catch the unboxing, it has these 2 gauges of wire. It had a few beads, and then there's also 2 colors of the medium beading wire, which is so gorgeous. These are both fantastic colors for year round. I actually buy both of these. So I was like, ooh, I have more.
Yeah.
Worked out well. The crimps, the oxidized silver crimps, when you guys started carrying those, I yelled at Sam. I was like, how could you not tell me they had these? Because I was stringing 100 crimps on a piece of wire and then dipping it in liver. It took forever.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I was so excited. And then I saw them in the kit and I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, our kit also has some charms. We have some little dancing skeletons from Abbi, and then some bat charms from Tierra Cast. And then it has all the findings. So it has some lobster clasps, some ear wires.
Oh, yes, I did have some of that too.
Yeah, it's a good little supply kit. So, and then like I said, you just go over to jessiejamesbeads.com and look through their Halloween stuff, because they always have such fun things for Halloween, and any of it will work with our supply kit.
All right, so after this, I'm going to show you how to make my little loop chain. I've really been liking to make this chain lately. It's a fun extender chain, especially if you're making like a hook clasp. It's really easy to get the hook in there. But this necklace, actually, I did a la Nile, if you know him, and there's no clasp. I was like, I'm not making a clasp. We're going to make it long. It's going to be perfect. And really, to get it over your head, it just needs to be like 24, 25 inches. So not a big ask when you have so many wonderful beads, and these large beads really take up a good amount of space on it too. All right, and then let's see, what time is it?
Let's show us the
chain. Do the chain. It's really easy. So I will show it with 2 different pliers. I like to use, if you have veil making pliers, I like to use them. Otherwise, I would use pliers that have a fairly thick base of the, what is this called? The base of the pliers, like
round nose pliers.
Thick. Yeah, round nose pliers.
Good thing I'm here. And the extender chain, I believe, is what she's showing you how to make yourself right now, Jean.
Yes, and with the Jessie James kit, also came with a really beautiful little chain that you could use for this or another project. So what I do is the way my pliers work, where the nose ends is pretty much the same width as the base. So I put my wire in there. I put it all the way up until it's just like poking out a little bit, but not like far over it. And then I'm just going to twist. And I would really, if you're going to do it with these, I would really stick with ones that have a big base, I wouldn't try and do it like in the middle, because unless you mark it with a Sharpie or you're like really confident, it's going to be very hard to replicate. So once I've got the loop there, I'm going to bring it back in my pliers and make it on the other side. And then I'm going to show you the bail making pliers. There we go. Cute. These are also great for like earrings, a bracelet. These are a great little connector. But we're going to get some more wire and we'll do it with the bail making pliers. If you have, it's funny, when I bought the bail making pliers, I'm like, I'm not going to use these. I didn't have them for years and years. And I just got them a couple years ago. And I'm like, I'm never going to use these. Like I'm so seasoned with my round nose pliers. Yes, I love them for making, especially like little chains. I use them for ear wires. I really didn't think I was going to use them as much as I did.
No, they're really handy.
So let me get my caliper real quick. Oh, I keep forgetting it needs new batteries, but let's see. This is like the 5mm size, just in case anyone is wanting to exactly replicate this size chain, but you can do it with all of the different loops. I would caution against going too big unless you're planning on work hardening the wire, though, because you can pull it apart. It's a lot easier when it's very large. Okay.
Getting some nice comments. This necklace is beautiful.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful mix of colors.
I can't wait to see everyone put their own little spin on it. That's one of my most favorite parts of teaching, is just seeing everyone's interpretation.
I love that too. You know, both Jesse James Beads and Softflex Company have Facebook groups. You can join both of them. Jesse James Beads, I think it's called the Secret Stash, if I remember correctly, and post pictures there, but also go to the Softflex VIB Facebook group and post pictures. We want to see what you're making with the two kits. And your own interpretation on each of these designs is totally welcome.
Yeah, there's so many amazing things you can make. And actually, I think I did use the smaller loop the last time. So we're going to try and make another one with whatever this size is. These are going to die on me shortly.
Coming up to the top of the hour, just so you know where we're at on timing, Rachel.
This is the last technique. So for all of the other beads that we didn't wrap, you follow the exact same method that we were using. It's just one. I would suggest starting with the pumpkin so you get a good feel for it, and then you can decide where you think the grooves on the bead would be for the rest of them, if that makes sense, for the wrapping. All right. So then you just connect these into your little extender chain.
Do you want to show us the connection?
Yeah. So you open them just like jump rings.
So this actually becomes the extender chain. You make your own chain using the Softflex craft wire, opening up each link. You can make all the links in one sitting and then open them up and connect them. And you can make it as long or as short as you want.
You could even make a whole necklace out of this and just put like beads in between. If you wanted to put the links in between these instead of the little beads, do the pumpkin.
Cute. And if you're using the multi-looping plier, it's going to give you a lot of consistency in your loop size. So that is super handy. You can find those on the Softflex Company website if you want to grab a pair. If you haven't gotten one yet, they are very handy.
What I like to do is I like to make a loop with each loop. What am I saying? One of these little connectors with every size, and then I leave them in my little drawer where I have that gauge wire, And then I can look at them and be like, all right, this is the size chain I want to make. And I like try it on the pliers, and then I don't have to like guesswork what size did I use.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you could totally just make a necklace like this if you wanted, or a
Can we
bracelet.
see your necklace up close one more time before we do our giveaway for the bottom of the hour? And then don't forget, we have Jenifer Miller coming up. Stick around. We've got a second full project to show you in just minutes. Okay, let's see that. We've got the pumpkin down there in the bottom. So if you were making it just like Rachel, you would just put it in the same sort of order, but you can order it however you want.
Right.
And then at the back end, you're just going to make that sweet little extender chain, and that'll just go right over your head, right, Rachel?
Right. Yeah, I tested it. It fits right over my head, and I don't feel like I have a particularly small head, so
You make it as long or short as you want. And you can add a clasp if you prefer a clasp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. That is so beautiful. And my favorite part is those pumpkins. Can you bring one of those?
Pumpkins are so cute. Yeah, I love these pumpkins.
It looks so good with the little wire running through the side of the pumpkin and defining it. It just looks really, really fantastic. Great job.
The color of the pumpkin is just, I really like, it's a very natural, and it's matte too. So they're just really beautiful, and they work really well with all different finishes because they're matte.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to do our giveaway. Let me share my screen. Just give me 2 minutes. I got to make sure I'm on the right one because we have 2 giveaways going today. We're going to start a new one with Jenifer Miller coming up shortly. And are you guys seeing? There it is. It's just taking a minute. Okay, last chance to enter to win one of our Softlix Company supply kits. It's got 2 spools of craft wire, 2 spools of beading wire, lots of fun little Halloween charms, crimps, clasps, and ear wires as well. Lots of little goodies in it. And then you can take it and buy some Halloween beads from Jesse James Beads to make all sorts of fun things. Here we go. Let's see who our winner is.
How did you do that?
Must be present to win. It's fancy, right?
Did somebody type all those names in, or did it auto-populate?
It automatically does it. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's so cool.
Roxanne on YouTube, please comment and let us know that you are here live and you are our winner.
Yay.
Roxanne on YouTube. I'm going to go in.
Congratulations. That's so exciting.
See if I can edit my ticker here for the next giveaway with Jenifer Miller. Our code is going to be Dracula. Hopefully I'm spelling it correctly. That looks wrong.
I cannot help with that.
Oh, good. It's spelled correctly here. I was like, wait, did I spell it wrong earlier?
I have to like write it out a lot of the time.
I did it right. Okay. I'm going to pull this up and hopefully Thomas Cotter. Good job, Thomas. And here is our next giveaway. Okay, Roxanne, please email info@softlixcompany.com. Let them know you won the Monster Mash supply kit and give them your shipping address and they will ship it right out to you probably by tomorrow. They're pretty quick about stuff like that. Let me stop sharing my screen. My computer's like, why are you pushing all of these buttons at once? Awesome. Okay, so we have one more hour coming up with the beautiful and talented Jenifer Miller. Jenifer, are you ready for me to add you? Okay, great. I'm going to add you. And she's like, yes, please. I've been waiting. Here we go. It's a little slow. Just give it a second. It's coming. I'm very excited to see your project too. Thomas, can you pop that comment off the screen now and make space for Jenifer? And I think you're in. Jenifer, are you here?
I see her.
Oh, you need the other one too to talk.
Okay.
It's coming.
Yay.
There we
Hi,
go.
Rachel.
Thomas, can you put that comment down? That would be helpful. All right. Hi, Jenifer. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's nice to see you. Maybe you guys aren't seeing the comment. Oh, there it goes. That's better. I'm going to switch you over here too, so I can see you better. So good to see you. Rachel, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for the fun project. We always look forward to getting to visit with you. I hope you'll get on our schedule for another live beading party soon.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Send me something you feel like making and we'll do it. All right?
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, everybody give Rachel a big thank you in the background. And it looks like Dracula's working. So that's the good news. All right. I'm going to drop you off of here now.
Perfect.
Bye, Rachel.
Thank you. Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Do you go by Jen or Jenifer?
It's Jen or Jenifer. I never go by Jenny. Yeah, I never go by Jenny, but
no Jenny. I will not.
I never do Jenny. My mom always says, I named you Jenifer, but Jen is a good, my friends call me Jen sometimes, but probably Jenifer.
Yeah, my kids recently, we call my oldest is Evelyn, we call her Abbi. And my youngest daughter is Hazel, we call her Hazy. And they just recently have been like, no, I'm Evelyn or I'm Hazel. And I'm like, what? I can't do that.
They're out of that E stage. You know how everything's doggy, mommy, and now they're out of that E stage. They're growing up. Your girls are growing up.
I know. It's killing me. I'm so glad to see you. We have never done a live video together. So this is going to be a big treat. I have admired your work from afar. So it's very exciting to have you here. And I believe, are you a Jesse James Beads ambassador?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
And last year you contacted me. I believe it might have been after a live with Jesse James Beads or something. And Thomas did an article on me about the 5 companies I can't live without.
Oh, I remember that. Yes. Thomas will have to pop a link to that up into the comments.
Yeah,
that's
was
right.
So much fun. That was so much fun.
I was like, because I always admire your work and I don't know how we haven't had a live beading party together. So one of these days you'll have to send me a project and we'll do a regular beading party.
That'll be fun. And I'm in Stanislaus County, California. So I'm not too far from, yes.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Yeah. I'm just up in Benicia. So I'm not too far at all. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get down to business.
All right.
Jenifer received the same 2 kits that the lovely and talented Rachel Mallis just showed us. And, but she chose different beads. All the designers worked together and they did something different this time. In the past, most of the designers have just said, okay, I'm taking Tokyo Nights. That's my bead mix. I'll only use this bead mix. This time, you guys, they took everything apart and they sent each other pictures of bits and pieces from all the bead strands and bead mixes, which I thought worked so much better. Really? Because you're not as limited as you are if you get just one bead mix, or sometimes I would get just one bead strand, which can be tricky to come up with like a really interesting project when it's like 10 beads.
Trisha and I did that for the summer camp. Trisha and I shared a bead strand and she did a project and I did a project and it was so much fun.
Yeah, it is nice. Sometimes those little challenges can bring out the best in you. I know I did one it was like the spring event that Jesse James Beads does. I had a very small amount of beads and I did a butterfly out of soft flex.
I have it right there.
Oh, it was really pretty. And I was like, oh, the limitation actually worked really well in that case because it made me think, okay, I got to get creative.
Yep.
What can I do with this wire that's new and different and special with just a couple of beads?
Yeah, and you did an illustration. I screenshot it so I could have it and print it and went
Oh,
through exactly. So that was a really, really fun project. And I do have it here and
awesome.
it's never leaving this house.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
love it. I love it. I
That's
absolutely love it.
cool.
I
Okay,
knew.
I'm going to go to your screen.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is I'm just going to hang out in the background. And as you need me, I'll pop in and out, but I'll mostly be muted to keep the sounds of my busy house in the background. And I'll pop up questions on the screen as I see them. If you have a question, and I might even jump in and help answer it if I feel like I need to. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, here we go.
So like Sarah said, we were all given the same kits and we all just decided what we were going to do. I knew when I saw the designers, because Jem is really the only designer I'm familiar with. And I knew I was going to wait until she was done. And if she left me 3 beads, I was going to make something with 3 beads. But I was going to wait until she was done and I wasn't going anywhere near her bead mix. But I saw all these colors and I've worked with Tokyo Nights before. And so I knew I wanted something from Tokyo Nights. And what I did was I do have it strung up here just because I needed to remember what my sample looked like. But I did take out all of the orange, black, and white, most of the white of the Hishi beads out of your little monster mix, which is so cool. And I took out, I believe from here, it was the black and the yellow beads. And then from this one here, I took out, let's see, I think I wrote it down. From the mini mix, I took out the orange rounds. So these orange rounds, and it might have been these 2. I think it might have been those 2 sets of oranges that I took from the little mini mix. And I just lost one. There we go. Now, I do have some left over because what I was doing was I was playing with the sizing. And then I have the Grim Reaper. And with the sizing, I did not want something that was a choker, but I didn't want something too long. And if any of you guys have watched my YouTube videos, I'm one of the hugest fans of soft flex wire. And I want to expose it, especially when you have the blacks and the coppers and those types of colors. I use the sterling silver and the champagne colors too. And as you can see, I have tons of crimp tubes because they are the best crimp tubes. So then you're going to need 1 crimp tube or 2. And I'll show you why you might want 2. And then 1 of these gorgeous, gorgeous lobster clasps. And then you're going to need, and the crimp tubes came from their extremely generous portion that Softflex supplied us with. Thank you so much. And also out of this
people
bag
will go
here.
wild with the crimps. And since there's 4 designers, I'm always like, I got to put like a ton in just in case.
Give us a scoop of
Someone
crimps.
might do an illusion style necklace and then there goes 30 crimps,
Yep. And I could totally see doing that, especially with the beading wire too, with the copper and the black. And then all of the ear wires and the bats. Kristen used the bats in her earrings are incredible that she did a couple of days ago and just absolutely
cute.
Beautiful. Yeah. Then we're going to dip into some of the 26 gauge wire, and we're also going to use some of the black onyx color wire. But first, we're going to go ahead and you notice there's no jump rings. So we're going to make our own bail, and you can very easily make a jump ring out of your 18 gauge. So you can make a jump ring out of your 18 gauge, but we're going to make kind of a bundled bail out of our bare copper because I love this bare copper. And again, I think the video I just posted last night was for Jesse James Beads, Sarah's wedding inspired mix. And I used the craft wire, the silver craft wire. So you're going to want, I am not a fan of waste. So I saw Maria was in the audience. She knows how I don't like waste, but we're going to have a little bit of waste here because we're going to cut about 10 inches. And what I did here was I just grabbed some nylon jaw pliers just to get it a little bit straight. And it also does kind of warm it up a little bit. You're going to need some flush cutters or any type of wire cutters. I should have said that. And yes, we're using magical crimpers because I love these things. I absolutely love them.
Can we just talk about how gorgeous Sarah James looked in all of her wedding photos? Since she's not here because she got married and she is busy on her honeymoon. And I saw they posted a ton of pictures into the Jesse James Beads Facebook group. I think that's where I saw them.
Yes.
So, and she just looks so radiant and happy and amazing. So if you haven't seen those pictures, make sure you go there and take a look. They will bring you such joy. I mean, just the joy radiating out of her is pretty amazing. So that's why Sarah James isn't here for this party this week. And Kristen and I are hosting on our own.
And the copper actually kind of matches the little Grim Reaper. And so I thought, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I could have done a Sarah Ayler jump ring with the black beading wire, but I decided to go ahead and use some of this craft wire. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut about 10 inches and you're going to have more than what you need, but you're going to want that extra. You're going to want that little bit of extra for wrapping because we're going to wrap around a few times and then we're going to wrap around our wire just to get it all secure. So I have a couple of inches out on the left side here as my tail. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long working end and I'm going to just take it back through the back. So this is coming out of the front. I'm going to take my wire, if I can see, and go through the back. So now it's coming back out of the front. It should be. Let's do this. I have to realize my face is not on camera, so it's okay for me to move my head around. Okay, so we're doing something like that. Now, this is where you can bring in your soft flex round nose pliers. And I have mine always marked up so I know exactly where I was. You can actually also bring in your bell making pliers. However, though, if you don't have any of that, you can bring in, my daughter's an esthetician. And so I have these mascara wands. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that mascara wand in there, just like so. I'm going to hold on. I'm holding on to this through in between my index and middle fingers. And then I am going to just pull. And you might need to grab some chain nose pliers to help along. And there you go. So you have that kind of a round bail starting. So then I'm going to go ahead and take that long end and pass it back through the back and bring it up through the front. Now you could do this as many times as you want. And I think in my design, I might have gone 4 or 5 times because I wanted something a little bulky. And I learned my wire wrapping and my wire wrap loops and all of that good stuff from Kelly Sutton at Kelly's Bead Boutique. She's my first designer I ever came across.
We love Kelly.
I do too. I was just texting her today.
Oh, she's coming on for a live beading party with me on the 18th, next Wednesday. So if for some reason you guys have been hiding under a rock and you don't know who Kelly is, make sure you tune in next week to the Soft Looks Company YouTube channel, 3 p.m. Pacific. Kelly's going to be on with a project using Soft Flex beading wire.
So now I have it wrapped around a few times and you can see it's pretty. It's going to give you a nice size. I think when I did this, it was about 4 millimeters and you don't need anything too large. It's just going to go through at the bottom of the two where the, as a dangle on the front. And so now I'm going to go ahead and just take that off. But actually, you know what, before I do that, I'm going to send that wire to the back. So I'm just sending it to the back. Okay, just like so. And again, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be anything, because what we're going to do is now we're going to take this wire and we are going to now pass back through all of the loops you just made, just like so. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and pull that nice and tight. Then you're going to go ahead and wrap it around again and pull nice and tight. Okay, and if you need to, just grab your chain nose pliers and give it a good tug. And this is why it was better to have more wire than not enough, because then you have enough room to make these little wraps. Okay, and I'm going to go around. I can't remember how many times I went around in the sample, but I went around, I don't know, a few times just to make sure I get it all nice and secure. Okay, and as you can see, my top, this was the tail at the beginning, right? So what I can do now is I can take this over to the end. I'm going to go ahead and pass it through one more time because I do like it a little bulky. And if you're one, I'm one where I like all my wraps to be all nice and neat and tidy and everything, you can just take your chain nose pliers and just kind of bring them all together. For this, it really didn't bother me, but I'm going to go ahead and on the inside, so this is coming out of this area here, I'm going to go ahead and do my cut right there. So it's kind of inside so that people won't get snagged. Then what you can do is you can take this and you can pass it back through. So if you need more than 2.5 inches, and really I'm only passing it through once just to give it so I can go ahead and trim it off. And then I have this nice little bulky thing going on, and I'm all about bulk and all about just kind of letting it go. And again,
Which gauge are you using?
I am using the 26 gauge.
Perfect. So in the supply kit, you will find 18 gauge and 26 gauge.
So you can end up with something cute and pretty. You can end up with something a little more like organic. I was not going for perfection. I was just going for, I want it to be bulky and have it, you know, just kind of just like a bulky end at the top. And you'll see why. Okay, so that gets put off to the side. And we're going to put that off to the side. I'm going to put it on top of my one here so that I remember to put it on. Next, what you're going to do is you are going to cut about 4 to 4.5 feet of your black wire. And I did mine with 4 feet. If you want something a little bit longer, you have a full 10-foot spool. And I'm not sure if Abby's using it tomorrow or if she's using a portion of it, but there's still another 6 feet left in this spool. You have a full 10-foot spool. Then what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to get rid of all my stuff. And here are my scraps. I always share my scraps. There's my scraps, which is enough to put in the scrap pile. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to meet my two ends. So my two ends are going to meet. And what we're going to do is we are going to start off with one of the little rondelles. And what we're going to do is we are going to push, and I kind of off center it a little bit after I know where my center is, just because it's easier to get one and then another through sometimes than getting both of them in at the same time. And I'm going to come all the way down to the end, just like so. And we're just going to use, that's going to be what we attach our clasp to, as far as like this. Just like so. So on the other side, when we use our crimp tube, we're going to make a loop. And yes, I'm actually going to attach the lobster clasp directly onto the wire. I hardly ever do that, but these lobster clasps are so good that I never ever have an issue with them. So you can also just resize as you're going along. So now that we have this one up here, this is our loop that we're going to connect to. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a white Hishi bead. And this is what when I saw these Hishi beads, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them, because I want to show off this wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass one wire through just like so. Then I'm going to take the other wire and pass through. And I think this is how I did it. Yes. Can't remember. We did this a couple weeks ago, didn't we? And then I'm holding on to this just like so. And then I'm just bringing this down to the end. And then we have this. And again, you can arrange all of the beads and stuff as you get closer to the end. But now we have our first little kind of section. Now what I want to do is I want to bring in another bead. And so what I'm doing is I'm passing 2 wires through the beads that I'm using, but the hishis get both of them going in crisscross, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and I'm doing the same thing. I'm holding on to the end. I'm holding on just to the bead and I'm just pulling that up. And again, you just maneuver, and another Kelly Sutton thing, you just boss it around. Just boss it around and get it to where you want it to go. Then we're going to grab another hishi bead. Now I'm going to go black. And when I was designing this, I didn't want a black bead next to a black hishi. But again, you can do whatever you want. And then I'm going to show you the extras that I had. Because what I'm going to do, because you can either add it and make a longer necklace, or you can make longer transitions. I have kind of a little bit like maybe a 1/2 inch transition. You can make a full inch transition if you want to. If you want something that's long that hangs down, you can do that. And then I'm just maneuvering back and forth with the 2 wires just to get it. And I get it in place as much as I can. And now we're going to go with these gorgeous yellow beads. I love that color. And I didn't want to do just yellow or just orange and black. I wanted to bring in a pop of color. And this is my pop of color, the yellow. Okay. After the yellow, we're going to use a orange, just like so. I'm going to pass it down through one side. Then I'm going to just turn it, and then I'm going to take where this is exiting. I'm going to put the other end in. I'm going to hold on to this and move. So this was so fun to make because I just kind of sat down and I didn't know what I was going to make yet. And it was overload. I will tell you, Sarah, you guys just went overboard with all of this, with all of the goodies that come in the Softflex kit and then the JJB kit.
It's supposed to be a treat. It's Halloween.
It is a treat. And
there's so many cute things I have to say. This kit, like those little monsters, the one-eyed monsters with the horns. They have my heart. And then the mummies that have like the I don't know what they're made out of, even like a plastic almost, but they're so
Is it these?
Yes, I love that mummy.
And they're mirrored if you want to make mirrored earrings.
I know.
So cute.
I can't wait. After this video, I'm going to set my children free on all the beads. They love making Halloween jewelry, and they are going to die when they see like the little kitty cat jack-o'-lantern. Oh my God.
I will tell you, if JJB has more of these bead strands, I'm buying 10 more.
Yeah, they're pretty.
I love them. I absolutely love them. And it's not that I need more bead strands because I get all the JJB ones from you guys too. Every month.
It's crazy. I do use them though. It's not like they pile up. Like I do end up using all of them because they're so pretty and accessible.
Well, I'm the opposite. I've got tons.
Oh no.
Because I can't do it. I just
can't keep up.
My next giveaway is going to be a guess how many Jesse James bead strands I have. But then I thought, it took me a year to count them all.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we're just moving along. We're at the white. Now we're going to bring in, I love these little beads too. They're just round crystals, simple beads, and I love them. No facets, just nice and smooth. There we go. And you know, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and let me get back to being centered here a little bit. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and I think I've mentioned it before. Well, first off, Kelly's the first one she ever saw too, because she was little. She was just born. She was born in March of 2020. And that's when I started watching Kelly. I started designing on my own about a year later. So this was my quarantine hobby to get me out of my day job, you know, to stop, because I just wouldn't stop.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think you've been beading for like a million years.
Oh my gosh, no, it's just been yeah. And so I followed Kits, and then she had me that following year. She said, can you watch the Great Bead Extravaganza? And I went, yeah. Rain and I will watch. My granddaughter's Rain. Yeah, we'll watch. And so she was just a year old, almost a year old, because this was now February of 2021. Well, who introduces Kelly? Nile. So guess who she loves?
Who doesn't love Nile? Yeah.
And I posted a picture of her and I doing a selfie with Nile. It was so much
fun. Yes. I told Nile he should do Flat Stanley. I was like, you should take your picture, and make it into a laminated thing and send it with your packages and have people take pictures with it, because people love taking pictures with him because he's so handsome and sweet. And like,
oh my gosh.
It would be and so funny.
Because I had him up on the big screen. We were watching him. So we were playing, we were drawing or doing something. And then I had a replay on, and I happened to get up because she's like, I want to take a picture, because she's, hi, Nile. Well, he can't hear her. And so she's, hi, Nile. And yeah, it wasn't going very well. But right when we got up to take the selfie, it was right when he was like waving. He put his hand up, and I went, oh, here I am talking. And so it was actually perfect timing. It was so cool.
Oh my gosh.
But Kelly, yeah.
My kids still to this day think Nile is my coworker.
Oh.
I'm always like, he doesn't work with me. He's my friend, and we work together, but he has his own business. So when I go to the office, they're like, oh, is Nile going to be there? And I'm like, no. He doesn't even live
so
here.
Cute. And he came here like a year or two ago, didn't he? You guys all met?
He's visited a few times. Yeah, he's visited a few times. He's even stayed here at the house and like gone to Pizza Pirate with my family. So he really put in the extra mile.
That's awesome.
He's a very, very sweet friend.
He is. He is. So now we're down to where we're going to be at the, let me get on camera a little bit. So now we're going to be at the point where we're going to add our last bead here. So this little orange guy. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and add our Grim Reaper. Okay. So we're going to add our Grim Reaper. Now, just be aware of how you're facing. So for me, this is the front, because my clasp is going to go here and I'm going to go there. So if you were doing this way, you could flip it around, and you know that your clasp is going to be on this side if you're doing it for right-handed. Okay. So there we go there. Now we have our little Grim Reaper that we made ourselves. And then now you'll see why I liked having now I think I could take this apart. Now you can see why I liked having the thicker kind of messy bail look, because it's going up against these beads here. So let me get on camera. I'm terrible about going off camera, because you start working and then you're getting closer to your face.
It takes some practice to get good at it, for sure.
I don't know if I mentioned, but if you were to have added that second crimp, it would have gone here. I didn't need it. And also too, I've coiled up wire because I'm so impatient with the little crimp and pulling it through super fast. I've coiled up wire, and been really sad because I've ruined it. So I just did this here, and that's fine. You should not need a secondary crimp tube there. But if it makes you feel more comfortable, you do that at the very beginning. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and grab our white. Where are we on time? We're good. I think we're going to get this finished.
You're doing great. Yep.
Okay, and again, go ahead and grab your 2 wires. Now I'm going a little opposite and pull. And sometimes the wire, you'll get a little wonky. So I'm going to flip it over so I'm doing it the way that I'm more comfortable. I'm right-handed, but I think I was supposed to be left-handed because my mom said when I was little, I always picked up my fork with my left hand when I was a baby, when I was little, and she would take it out of my hand and say, "No, that's not right." And yeah, and I pick up scissors with my left hand. I do a lot of stuff with my left hand, and I think that's probably why. You guys are getting all the
inside
scoop. But I just started this jewelry making journey. Oh, and also too, I have to go back to that first Great Bead Extravaganza. Thank you, Kelly, because that introduced me to Softflex Company.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, I can drive there and go pick it up.
That's crazy, isn't it? We have another one coming up just next weekend. It starts on the 20th and with preview night, and then the 21st and 22nd is our Fall Fest for the Great Bead Extravaganza. So make sure you're part of the Great Bead Extravaganza Facebook group. And Kelly sadly is no longer a presenter. She just was too busy. It's a lot of work for the presenters to stay involved. Yeah. So make sure you're watching and liking all those videos and shopping from the presenters next weekend to keep that good vibe going.
Yeah, and Kelly and I, so the funny thing about Kelly and I too is that, I mean, she's the one that basically introduced me to all this. I found her because I wanted to see what to do with my leather sheets I got with my Cricut machine.
Oh, really? Was she using leather sheets?
No, but she had these cowgirl earrings or some sort of earring where it was actually like, I think maybe like a 5mm or 3mm leather cord or leather strap. And that's how it all started for me.
That is so funny. Who was the first beading video that any of you watched? Put it into the comments. I'm curious to see. Where was your gateway into beading? And there's Kelly.
What?
It's like she heard her little ears were ringing.
It's because they're called the Hey Cowgirl. I knew there was cowgirl in there. But yeah, Kelly started all this. Yeah, thank you, Kelly.
I'm looking forward to hanging with you next Wednesday on the 18th.
And I guessed it in her live yesterday. She said, I'm doing a live next week, but she didn't know if it was.
Oh, yes, we're doing it.
If it was advertised yet.
Oh, yes.
And I texted her this morning because I watched her at 11 o'clock at night last night. And it was so cute because I texted her this morning. I said, "It's Softflex. I know it is. They do lives on Wednesdays at 3."
Yes, we're doing it for sure. Look at all these fun names of people coming through where they started beading. That's awesome. So many great beading tutorials out there. Rachel and I were talking a little bit about when I started beading, there was no YouTube first and foremost. But it's amazing how much information you can find for free on the internet now. It's a beautiful thing to be able to share project ideas and have little get-togethers like this where like-minded people can come together and do a fun beading project, all using the same beads.
This was pretty fun. This was pretty fun, I have to say. But again, I love some Softflex and I love some Jesse James beads. I did see a very special name come across as well. My second jewelry making designer that I ever saw was Wendy Whitman.
Oh.
And her and I got to do a live together with Jesse James Beads. And I
Mhm.
told Sarah, thank you so much, because she, Wendy didn't know. Then Wendy and I started doing lives together.
Mhm.
And, it was just, yeah. So Wendy was my second jewelry designer that I ever came across.
He was such a sweet soul. Very, very much missed.
So now we're down to the end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this last one in. And I have quite a bit of wire left. And again, this is where you can take your necklace and you can look at it and say, oh, wait, I want it to be this long. And you look at it and it's off, it's not right. That's where you can start maneuvering and moving things around. That's part of the reason why I like doing this kind of faux floating, where we're not putting crimp tubes in there. We're just using the natural flow of the wire to make it that floating look. And then I want to show off the black wire, right? So this is where you would come. And so if I'm going to just go down the center, or down the middle, and I just go like this. And I know that this is about 16 inches, because this little poor beading mat, I think this came free with something a long time ago, maybe my first tools. And it's 8 inches across. And so I know that I have probably about 16 inches. And by the time we get our lobster clasp on there, we're going to have probably a good maybe 16 and a half or 17 inches. So now you look at it and you go, well, it's a little off up here. Well, you know what? After you're done, you can go through and all you do is just start scooching. You just start scooching. And that's what I did for my sample. I just started scooching things around and then made it to where it was exactly perfect, right? And it doesn't have to be. And Kelly, if you're still there, if someone notices that it is not perfect, they're standing too close to you. Always says.
I love a good Kelly line.
Oh yeah. Especially the ones that we can repeat online.
Yeah.
In the audience. Okay, so now we're to the end. And again, I have a lot left here, and I think I cut more than the 4 feet. But again, you can just gauge it how you want. I probably did 4.5 feet and have, a good 16 inches left over. So if you wanted to do 4 feet, 3.5 feet, you could probably end up with the same thing. This little charm here lands right in the middle of my chest, which that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to wear like a V-neck or something and have this exposed. All right, so now we're to the part where we are going to add our crimp tubes, our crimp tube actually. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to pass both of them through. And if you guys have watched my videos, I always I have that Nile thing in my head where you add a third wire, and then it helps with the magical crimpers. And so that's how I learned. And so that's how I do it. I always add a third piece. And that's why keeping those scraps are so important. And we're only going to use one of the wires. So both go through the tube. One's going to come back. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and attach it directly to the lobster clasp. And Sarah, I normally don't do this because what if the lobster clasp malfunctions? Then you have to take it all apart.
Mm-hmm.
But the lobster clasps that you include in all of your kits, I don't know where you get them, but they are amazing. And I've had them for 2 years now. And no malfunction.
Them as they come in. So that's part of it, because some of them just are a little annoying.
And you saw that at the beginning, I actually put the lobster clasp on here. I attached it. I do that when I'm doing my kits or when I'm doing designs. I'll always test it out, and I'll try and do it at least a few times just to make sure. And yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come back down again and make sure I have my middle here. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this down, and you want wiggle room. You do want wiggle room. So I have a little bit of a loop there, and I want wiggle room. And I like that wiggle room. You can go tighter or smaller if you want, but I kind of like it to move around. I feel like if it moves around, it's not putting so much tension on the wire. And I haven't had the wire break or anything either, but I just want to do what I can to protect it, right? So now what we're going to do is bring in our magical crimpers. And these crimpers, anybody that's done, I think Sarah said if you've lived under a rock, you wouldn't know about that. So you wouldn't know about the magical crimpers. And Sarah will say, I remember the first time she said, oh, you make a ravioli. And I'm doing it. And I'm like, well, now it looks like a meatball. And so I said that to Neil, and he was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And so that's the little joke about whenever you say the ravioli, if you're going around and come back and we have the round, we're in the background going, then a meatball. So, all right.
I think I started saying a meatball too, because people say it in the comments.
Yeah. So now you just want to make sure that your crimp tube is in the middle. So you don't see it poking out here and you don't see it poking out here. Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and give it your squeeze and you have your 4 corners pinched. Okay. Which you probably can't see because, my phone is not, I don't like the camera phone on this one, but okay. So you have your 4 corners pinched. Then what you're going to do is tilt it on its side. So now you have your little ravioli. Make sure that you don't have anything poking out here. Make sure you have nothing poking out here. And then you squeeze down. Then I say you just go around the horn. Go around. Just keep on going around. Keep it in place. And you keep on squishing until you feel no tension at all. And sometimes you can see it because you can see it move. And you just keep going around and around and around. And then when you feel no tension, then you know that you're done. And I totally massacred that one. And I knew I did. I'm like all away from my face.
It's very hard far away from your face.
But
I know.
So then all you do is just continue going around, and you shouldn't have a smashed piece of hamburger here. You should have a meatball. And that's usually what you get.
Yeah.
And so then you come in with the cutters. I never got the amazing cutters that Softlex had that are very similar to this because Kelly.
They are.
Yes. And so I have these.
They're very similar. Those are super nice cutters.
And then we're going to go ahead and come in and give this a trim. And I'm perfectly fine with what's going on here because this is mine. And then I end up with some extra, and I have enough to make Little Miss Rain a bracelet, or anybody or anything. You can use this for the front part of a necklace. If you want to make a double strand necklace with the rest of your beads, there's so much that you can do with this, even though it's considered a scrap, it's workable. Then you just go ahead. And how are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good.
Great. Yeah, I have some things to show them, and we still have a giveaway too. So we're doing great.
So here we have it.
So cute.
I love it.
You guys. Some people are commenting that Grim Reaper is just too adorable.
Isn't he? It's like a baby. It's like the baby Grinch. We have a baby Grim Reaper.
It's so cute.
It's very cute. And out of the beads that I picked out, that I guess I'm putting up an air quote, like reserved, there's still some of these discs. So if you wanted to extend yours out and make yours a little bit longer, or if you wanted to make these sections a little more tight, there's some extra beads here that I quote unquote like reserved for the project.
So many good comments coming through from YouTube and from Facebook. Everybody's really loving this design. We've got people watching. I think you're watching from Australia, right?
Yes, Linda. That's Linda. Hi, Linda.
Yeah, I got Linda from Australia. We've got people from all over the country and all over the world. So awesome. Well, I've got a giveaway, but before I show you that, I went and did a peek at the Jessie James Beads website. Let me share my screen. Let's look at Jessie James Beads first. And I did a quick search for Halloween on their website. So you can can see here, they still have some mixes that you can nab. Look at this Jack and Friends bead strand. Super cute. Look at this little one over here, the Mega Bead Mix in Voodoo. It's got some cute stuff in there.
Right here.
You have that with you? Awesome. Then they've got a Trick or Treat Mystery Surprise Bundle. It looks like they have some of their Welcome to the Overlook Hotel September 23 Magical Mystery Bead Boxes. So if you did end up missing out on their special bead supply kit for this event, do not worry. You can still go grab lots of goodies from them. You can see this is the one that's sold out over here, the Monster Mash Halloween Jewelry Making Party Kit. But there's lots of other stuff here that you can grab. And then you can also stop by our website. Let me go there and show you a few things. And I think I have to share screen again and switch. And here we go. We've got Monster Savings starting yesterday. Spend $99, get $15 off your order. It's automatic. Free shipping on orders over $65. This ends on October 17th. Don't forget, we added all those beautiful boho flowers. And look, they just added a bundle today. You can get all 18 colors. Oh, excuse me, 22 colors. That's crazy. All 22 colors, and you get 30% off, and you get 4 flowers for each color. So I think it's like 88 beads that you're getting, and they're not tiny, they're not big flowers, but they're not small. They're 18 by 18. So they're a good size. And there's some really, really beautiful colors in there. So you can grab those. But I also wanted to show you, if you go up to this little shop drop down and you go to the holidays tab, that takes you to everything that we have that is Halloween or fall related. So you can find some leftovers from our Halloween, Halloween Hustle design kit. It's a little too many H words in a row. It's gotten me. But we've got some sugar skulls. We've got some ceramic beads. We have some bead mixes. Then we've got these great owls that I made earrings with and a bracelet with on Tuesday, and the bird coins. And just keep going down and you'll find all sorts. There's our Monster Mash supply kit, which I'm going to give one away in just a few minutes. And we've got some charms and all sorts of things. But look at this on page 2. We've got some tiara cast in this section too. So some really nice things that will work for fall jewelry in tiara cast. So fern leaves, thistles, evergreen trees, the monstera leaves. We've got looks like the bats are sold out. We've got all of these ceramic beads in lots of colors that work really well for fall. And then lots of gemstones and things as well in fall colors. So make sure you stop by and check out that category. Let's do our giveaway. Jenifer, you've been an excellent guest.
Thank you.
So excited you're here. Let's do your giveaway, which was hashtag Dracula. So last moments to enter, put it in the comments, and we are going to pick our winner. Trying to make sure I get the right one. Giveaway tool, StreamYard. I think it's this one. Oh, there we go. Okay, here it comes. We've got 129 entries. It is your very last moment to get your name into the drawing. It is going to draw somebody automatically when I click this button, and they need to comment and let us know you're here. Thomas will be looking for your comment in the background to pull it up. If you're here, then we want you to email us at info@softluxcompany.com to claim your prize. Make sure you email us your shipping address. Let them know you won a Monster Mash supply kit, and they will get that out to you. And that will be all the supplies like the wire, the crimps, the findings that were used in today's live, and then also used in part 2 tomorrow.
It's
Sweet.
Yay!
From Facebook. Let's see. Let's see if she is here. Make sure you comment and let us know that you're here. And then you can email us to claim your supply kit, which will look like this. It'll have 4 spools. Well, it'll actually look like this. Once you take it out, it has 4 spools. It has some beautiful little glass raven beads. It's got some dancing skeletons.
Right.
Oh, good, you're here. Yay! Congratulations. Make sure you email info@softflexcompany.com to claim your prize.
And I love the bats. The bats are just showstoppers for me.
And Kristen just used those recently, right? On Monday.
Yeah, she did a wire weaving where she took 2 strands of the 18 gauge and then did like this wire weaving, and they're 2-sided. And so this is a generous pack. You guys you guys always do though. You guys always do.
We like to have lots of options for the designers because we have 4 designers over 2 days. This is only part 1. So you are still going to be able to join us tomorrow. Again, Kristen will be your host, and we will have 2 more designers hanging out and showing us some beautiful designs. Let me post this. First up will be Gem Hawks and from the UK. And then we have Abbi Berta, who is the owner of the Bead Place, and just one of the sweetest, kindest souls that you could ever meet. She is a real gem. So you'll be able to see them tomorrow. I'm going to take us out with a little bit of spooky Halloween music. Because who doesn't need spooky Halloween music, right?
We love spooky Halloween music.
Jen, I'm so glad I got to spend some time with you today. Thank you for being part of our Monster Mash jewelry making party on behalf of Jesse James Beads.
Thank you.
Big thank you to all of our friends at Jesse James Beads for putting together such a beautiful bead supply kit. And congratulations to Sarah James on her wedding. We couldn't be happier to see her be so happy and grateful. And we hope she's having the best of them. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. We can't wait to see what you're making. Please post it into the Softflex VIB group as well as the Jesse James Beads Secret Stash Facebook group so that we can see what you're making with these beads as well. Whether you make the same design or something different, we want to see it. And please join us again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll kick off part 2 of the Monster Mash jewelry making party.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. And thank you, everyone. I'm going to go back and look at everybody's comments.